Hello, True Health Seeker, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Learn True Health podcast. I've got an awesome interview for you today. But first, before we jump into it, I'm really excited to share 3 pieces of news with you. Awesome information. So just listen for the next few minutes and then we'll jump into the interview. The first piece of news is my favorite magnesium soak. If you've listened to the show for a while, you've heard me talk about it. You've probably heard Kristen Bowen, the founder of Living the Good Life Naturally. The website's livingthegoodlifenaturally.com. And the coupon code is LTH. She's hosting this week a special just for Learn True Health listeners. I polled the listeners in the Facebook group. So if you're not in the Facebook group, come join us. Go to Facebook and search Learn True Health, or you can go to learntruehealth.com/group and that'll redirect you to the group. But I polled the listeners and asked them because Kristen gave me a choice. She said, listen, I'd love to throw on a summer sale for the Learn True Health listeners. And she offered us either a free jar of the magnesium muscle cream or a free jar of the acerola cherry powder. Now, the acerola cherry powder, I love it. It is a vitamin C powder, but it's whole food plant-based vitamin C powder, so it actually has all the other cofactors. It tastes really good. Listeners have been noticing that their skin gets healthier, that they're healing faster from cuts, that their bleeding gums go away. You know, if you brush your teeth and you have a bit of bleeding gums, that's a vitamin C deficiency. And so lots of listeners have said they really enjoy it. Some people actually find that it helps them with their parasite protocols to rid their body of parasites. They add it to their parasite protocol and they find that it kicks it up a notch and really helps. So I polled the listeners and you guys actually decided that you wanted a free jar of the muscle cream. People were raving about it in the Facebook group. They said it really helped to lessen the tension in muscles. They'd rub it on sore, tight muscles and they'd notice that the muscle relaxed because it delivered that magnesium straight into the localized area. So that's really cool. So when you order a jug of the magnesium soak from livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, it is going to automatically add a free jar, and then they're going to give you free shipping for the jar as well. All you have to do is buy the jug. You're still going to receive 10% off as part of the Learn True Health code. So just go to livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, click on their magnesium section, and grab that jug of magnesium soak. They'll add the magnesium muscle cream for free. And that magnesium soak is amazing. I've shared about it before on the show, and I've shared about it several times in the Facebook group. We actually have a post with over 200 different comments of people sharing their experience about this magnesium soak. It has been life-changing for our family. Our young son was always fighting sleep until we started adding it to his bath. And now he is calmer and wants to go to sleep at night. So we also noticed that we felt better rested at night. We slept deeper. And so that's for us. It also felt like my muscle tension went away because I was holding a lot of stress, in my shoulders and my back. So the magnesium soak is amazing, and then the magnesium muscle cream is awesome for those local areas, and that's going to come for free. And that's this week only. If you have any friends who you know are magnesium deficient, and there's over 200 symptoms of magnesium deficiency, but the common ones are pain, stiffness, sore muscles, sleep problems, twitching or like spasms or cramps. Restless legs is a really big one that people notice. They get a lot of relief from doing the magnesium soak. And the instructions come with the jug when you buy it and explains exactly how to soak in it to maximize your results. And of course, you can go to learntruehealth.com and in the search box, search magnesium and listen to my episodes with Kristen. She shares her story. She actually was 70 pounds. I think she was like 78 or 79 pounds in a wheelchair and having 30 seizures a day. That's how sick she was. And the magnesium soak is the key thing. I mean, she was doing a lot of stuff to get her health back, but that was the key thing that helped her to recover from her seizures and get herself back online. And so that's why she made it a business. She was started out as a customer, and then she ended up creating the business to make sure that she could deliver to her, not only herself and her family, but to everyone that she came in contact with, the highest quality, purest form of concentrated magnesium with all the cofactors in it. So our skin, our body actually absorbs it readily, and you can prove it with blood tests. So she talks all about that in our interview. So definitely go back and check that out. So livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, coupon code LTH, grab your free jar of the magnesium muscle cream when you buy a jug of the magnesium soak this week only. So that's news number one. News number two is the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I've saved the best for last, by the way, so keep listening. The Institute for Integrative Nutrition is hosting a fantastic sale. So if you've been thinking about becoming a health coach like me, and you'd love to take their online training, it's designed for busy people. Specifically, he designed it, Joshua Rosenthal designed the course for busy stay-at-home moms or busy career moms, basically the busiest people on the world. So anyone can take it, and men also take it as well, not to exclude anyone. But if you're busy in life, yes, you can take this program. It's designed for you to be able to do it in, you can do it in 20-minute increments. You can do it a little bit every day. And a lot of it is audios and videos, not a ton of reading, because it's easier to consume that content, and people learn better through listening and through watching. And there is reading that you can do, but my learning style is listening. And so I read very little and I listened to everything. And that really helped me. So some people learn better through reading, and they provide everything in written as well. So they hit all of the learning styles. So if you're concerned, like you want to become a health coach, but you're concerned that you won't learn as well as others because maybe you learn better at watching and engaging. They actually have us engage, watch, listen, read. You can learn in these different ways. So they make sure they hit all the learning styles. I love their program. It was life-changing for me to go through it. Now they have their program in a year-long program. They also offer a condensed 6-month program for people who want to be full-time students. This week only, for the Learn True Health listeners, they're offering 25% off their payment plan and completely zero down, meaning you can call them, you sign up, and for 30 days, you are not paying them. And if you don't like it, then just call them up and say, hey, it wasn't for me. And there's no risk to you. So you could join IIN right now and start taking their training. And that is so cool. So there's no risk. You can jump right in. It's really exciting news, actually. And the first 35 people that join and take advantage of this sale right now, they're going to gift you, it's worth almost $1,000. They're going to gift you one of their advanced courses, the advanced course, which I really want to take this course. It teaches you how to become a successful author and create and publish your own dream book. So this is wonderful news. You can go ahead and Google IIN to get their phone number, give them a call, tell them that Ashley James from the Learn True Health podcast sent you so that you will get this special. I definitely recommend them. I'm a big fan of IIN. And hey, if you do join, please reach out to me. You can email me, support@learntruehealth.com, or you can find me on Facebook in the Facebook group, in the Learn True Health Facebook group, and please reach out to me. I love mentoring my fellow health coaches. And if you do join and you want help with promoting your business or growing your business and becoming a successful health coach and helping other people, I would love to help you. So I'm here as a resource for you. Take advantage of IIN's sale right now. All right, now we're almost done. News piece number 3. And then you're going to jump right into the interview. Thank you for hanging on. I know this is a long promotional spiel. I get it. I'm really excited to share all this info. I didn't want you to miss out on these sales. So here's the thing. This doesn't have to do with health, but it does have to do with helping to support the Learn True Health podcast. So I have a 4-year-old son. And my husband and I have this wonderful 4-year-old son. And if you don't know my story, I was infertile since I was 19 years old. I was told I'd never have kids, and I used natural medicine to conceive naturally and to have a healthy boy. And now he is 4 years old and he's wonderful, and it's all from natural medicine. We would have never had him had we not found natural medicine. So that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast. It's because it gave us our son. We've been helping him learn how to read. And in doing so, I discovered a company that I am in love with. It is called Usborne Books and More. And they, in staff, they hire child education and development specialists, and these wonderful people work alongside designers and illustrators to create these beautiful books that engage children and make them want to learn. In fact, my son, and we do very little screen time, we offered him the choice of playing with his Usborne Books and More stuff or watching some TV, and he chose to play with his activity book. And I was like, yes, this is so awesome. It has increased his confidence in reading. I love it. I'm really in love with this stuff. There have over 2,000 different kinds of books to choose from. It's not just, it's so not what a library has. And we've been going to the library since he could sit on our laps as we read him nighttime stories. So it's completely different stuff. So if you have any kids in your life at all, they develop special books for infants, for toddlers, for school-age children, for teenagers. They even have some really fun stuff for adults as well, like adult coloring books. It's all based on making reading fun and engaging and making learning fun. So if you have kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews, I'd love for you to join my Facebook party. We're hosting it next Sunday evening. And it starts next Sunday evening. So you just join it and then you watch it at your convenience. I'm going to post some videos and I'm going to go live in that Facebook group and share my favorite Usborne Books and More books and answer any questions you have. And any purchase you make, and most of these books, by the way, are under $9. So it's really, they're actually really well priced. But anything you do purchase, the proceeds will go to support the Learn True Health podcast. It's going to help pay for the transcriptions, help pay for our hosting, help pay for my assistant that helps me stay on top of everything and get these great guests. So if you love this show and you have children in your life and you want to support them and increase their love of learning and love of reading, how you do this is you go to, here's the website, kidsbook.party. So it's not .com, it's kidsbook.party. There's 2 buttons there. It's super easy. You either click on the join the party button or you click on the shop now button. And if you have questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you. Thank you so much for being a listener. Thank you so much for sticking around and hearing all the specials. I hope you take advantage of them. I hope you join my Usborne Books and More Facebook party. Even if you just come to support me in my little launch that I'm doing on Sunday, I'd love to see you there. And if you have anything at all that you guys need, please reach out to me. Come join the Facebook group and ask questions. It's such an active, wonderful community that loves to help each other. And I'd love to see you there. Enjoy today's interview. Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 363. I am so excited to have back on the show with us Dr. Z, who is the leading expert in essential oils. He was originally back on our show in episode 302, and now he's come back to teach us about his new book, The Essential Oils Diet. I know you talked a little bit about it in our first interview, and it was so intriguing because there's so much controversy around ingesting oils, right? And a lot of concern that some essential oil companies are not of good quality, and some essential oils would be contraindicated to ingest. And so because you're a doctor and you really know your stuff, you've been able to create the Essential Oils Diet book, helping people to understand how they can incorporate these healing extracts, these healing essences of of plants to heal, to help our body, and not only to detox, lose weight, to have more energy, to help the body come back into balance. So I'm very excited to learn more about the essential oils diet today. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me back. I'll take that as a sign that that I didn't bomb the first interview. I didn't scare you or your listeners away, and your awesome blog followers. And love you. I really do, Ashley. I really appreciate all that you do and your awesome questions and your show. I'm really excited about sharing this for a number of reasons, because we've gotten a lot of slack for this, by the way. And when you start talking about essential oils, for sure you're putting yourself out on the chopping block. And then when you start going against conventional recommendations, like yes, you can consume them, but the right way, you really get out there. And so we've been flogged,
Mm-hmm.
40 lashes minus one a couple times already online. And so I'd love to kind of set the record straight and help people.
Absolutely. Well, I'm definitely excited to dive into all that. And the story, my personal story with essential oils that I've shared on the show before, is when I was a teenager. I was about 15 and I was really sick. I stayed home from my summer job at an all-natural spa that happened to also sell essential oils. And the owner, who was an esthetician and really, really into essential oils, she sent my mom, she gave my mom a bottle of lavender and peppermint and sent her home to take care of me. I must have picked up some stomach flu. Basically, I had a fever. I was throwing up. I felt so nauseous and so sick, and I'm lying there in bed just feeling miserable. And my mom comes in, and she was told to take the lavender and mix it with some carrier oil. The only thing we had in the house was olive oil, so she put a couple drops of lavender in some olive oil, and she was told to rub it on my chest and my tummy. And then she was told to take one drop of peppermint oil, put it in some hot water, and let me sip it. And I did that. I sipped the peppermint, and she put the lavender oil on my chest and tummy. And the moment I started sipping that peppermint, I was also told to inhale the peppermint as I sipped it, but the moment I sipped it, the nausea went away. I lay back down. I fell asleep. I slept for a really long time, and when I woke up, my fever had broken and I was no longer sick.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was my introduction to the power of essential oils. And so I was just a raving fan, and I consumed all the books and all the information I could, and I just loved it. And I ended up, because of how much I loved essential oils, I became like the number one salesperson at this spa, because every person that walked to the door, I wanted to tell them about how great essential oils were.
Mm-hmm.
So they're wonderful, but we have to learn how to use them correctly. And so, of course, you've created all these resources online, and now your books to help people to do just that. And what I really like about your approach is that you don't align yourself with any one company, because you want to just teach people how to use them and how to find the right company for them or the right brand for them, but that you're not, I guess people might say, if you had aligned yourself with a brand, then maybe they would say you're biased in some way. So you're just here to educate us, which is wonderful. I'd love to know what inspired you to write the Essential Oils Diet.
Actually, my first book published last year, The Healing Power of Essential Oils, it was an instant bestseller. It actually flew off the shelves in a way that no one really was expecting, because no one was working on essential oil books at the scale that this was published by a major publisher. My publisher is Penguin Random House, and you haven't seen a major publisher pick up a book on aromatherapy in quite a while like this. And since then, it's become an international bestseller in 7 different languages and in multiple continents and countries. And so what happened was, my publisher, being in the business of selling books, came up to me and like, hey, what's the next book? And I'm like, well, hold on a second. My wife calls them Irish twins. Like, here I am. We just kind of delivered birth to this baby, which takes a lot of time and effort. And now you want to get pregnant again? Like, hold on. But anyway, I did what most moms do. I dealt with pregnant amnesia. And I'm like, okay, let's do it again. And so I did some soul searching. I did some data research, and I contacted our community. We have a pretty thriving group on Facebook, and our just ways that we reach out to the followers that we have online. And I started asking, like, what do y'all need? you already know how to use essential oils. Like, what is it that you want help with? And my thought was the main diseases in the world: cancer, autoimmunity, diabetes. Like, so I just started surveying people and asking people, and ultimately, yes, people did have those issues, but what happened was a light bulb went up in my mind when I started connecting the dots. I realized, you know what a commonality is between all of these diseases is weight gain, obesity, having that inflammatory response, never having a chance to soothe in someone's body because of what they're doing to their lifestyle, because of the foods that they're eating, the products that they're putting on their skin. And so my thought was this: the biggest bang for someone's buck is to lose weight. I mean, by and large, if there's one thing everyone on the planet can do, if they're overweight, obviously, if someone is trying to prevent disease and treat disease, you can't do that if you're overweight. And the thing is that obesity, not just obesity, but just even being 10 pounds overweight, is so fundamental to every aspect of your health. It's like you really can't truly fight cancer if your body's metabolism is burdened with excess fat. You can't really prevent autoimmune conditions or anything. And then, of course, you think about diabetes and prediabetes and musculoskeletal issues, and everything keeps on going back to weight. And then, obviously, the statistics show we're getting fatter as a people, as a group, all around the world. And then kids. This is what really got me. Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Never before has the life expectancy of children been predicted to be less than their parents, and primarily it's because of obesity. And so at the end of the day, if we were to pinpoint one factor that is attributed to all chronic disease right now that is 100% preventable, and that's something I really stress, that is preventable, regardless of hormone imbalance, regardless of thyroid conditions, and we talk about that in the book because that's become a scapegoat, regardless of metabolism, it's weight loss. And that's something that we actively have an ability to control.
And some people may not feel or look like they're overweight, but we've heard of people who are skinny but have like fat on the inside, skinny on the outside. So when they do scans of their body, I mean, they might be a size 10 or size 8, and they think, I'm good. I don't have fat to
Mm-hmm.
lose. And I'm not saying that people who are skinny should become anorexic or unhealthy, unhealthily thin. But there's something where this fat can accumulate in the organs and around the organs. And that fat is actually more dangerous than the fat on their thighs, for example.
Oh, the underlying discussion you're really talking about too that highlights the notion of fatty liver. I was just featured on a documentary regarding that. Like, that is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is affecting upwards to one quarter, like one quarter, 25% of all Americans. That's 100 million Americans are being affected by fatty liver, and non-alcoholic because we know that alcoholics have a direct, um, I mean, alcoholism has a direct impact on the liver and develops fatty liver, which has been linked to almost an insurmountable amount of symptoms. And a lot of people, we could blame candida, we could blame stress, we could blame like what are these symptoms coming from? And it's hard. It's really hard to determine like why do you feel the way you do? Where the brain fog come from? Why the sluggish libido out of nowhere? Like, why can't you sleep anymore? Like the indigestion and the anger, the anxiety, like all these things that just seem to happen. And then you go online, and this gets really confusing, by the way. You go online, you type up, like, why am I feeling this way? And you start researching, and now people are becoming hypochondriacs, self diagnosing themselves with everything. Now everyone has leaky gut. Everyone has candida overgrowth. Everyone has this. Everyone has that. It's like, what? And so people are freaked out. And rightfully so, because you're sick and you don't know why. And so your doctor can't help you because your doctor hasn't been trained in really advanced diagnostic procedures to really figure out what's wrong with you. And a lot of folks are suffering from fatty liver and they don't even realize it because of the lack of exercise, their diet, and just because their body cannot process the sheer amount of fat. and so that they're consuming. And so there are some valid concerns with that in relation to the other organ issues that people are dealing with. So, yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that because people aren't talking enough about fatty liver, and the testing of fatty liver isn't too difficult. Like, a good diagnostician and a functional medicine doctor will know what to do. But here's the problem. It's not on most medical doctors' radars. They're not like thinking, oh, you have all these symptoms. Well, maybe it's fatty liver. They're not thinking that. What they think is, oh, you're depressed. Okay, here's an antidepressant. Oh, you're dealing with nausea. Well, here's something to help with your stomach. Oh, you can't sleep. Here's Ambien. And that's the problem is when we're treating symptoms and we're not really looking at, okay, why? You shouldn't be feeling this way. You're 45, you're 50, you're 60 years old. You really shouldn't be going through this. And it might be fatty liver.
I just interviewed a guy on nootropics. These herbs and supplements that all help the brain to have less inflammation, to work better, to have more a balanced, serotonin and GABA and dopamine and all those good chemicals. And we talked about inflammation, and it's amazing how inflammation, just inflammation alone, can cause so many issues. And then again, we're left treating symptoms. And we think we're treating the root cause, but if the root cause is inflammation, and it's like, well, okay, well, what's causing the inflammation? Like we have to back
Mm-hmm.
up. So
Mm-hmm.
brain fog is one of the symptoms of inflammation. And so we have to back up and go, and even being tired, right? Or even having like, stiff joints, or just being,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
even just being cranky, or just feeling off, not being able to put your finger on it, but just feeling off, because that alone that kind of inflammation can affect the dopamine or the serotonin. And then you just end up feeling a little off and you can't figure out why. Or you can feel a lot off and be really cranky. And the root cause is coming back to seeing that it's this systemic inflammation. And then what's causing the inflammation? We got to go deeper. And it's that stress, the lifestyle, the foods we're eating, the foods we're not eating. But we have to stop it, right? We have to have that break state where we can help the body to stop the inflammation. Even taking NSAIDs like Advil for a headache. I thought this was really interesting that Advil, because we think it's an anti-inflammatory as a
Mm-hmm.
drug, but it inhibits our own natural body's mechanism to fight inflammation. So by taking it, we actually maybe have a temporary artificial decrease in inflammation from the inside, but then we end up having this much more inflammation after it wears off, because now our body's ability to handle inflammation has been dampened.
Interesting thing about inflammation, and this stumbled up, writing this book, you're thinking you're right. Okay, we're talking about a diet book. Okay, how many more diet books can we have? We're talking about essential oils. Like, what does that mean? Can you live on essential oils? Like the name of the book and all these things. It was like I'm trying to wrap it all together in a package that would really educate and empower people. And inflammation was a theme that was a big part of my first book, and it kind of bled into the next book and led into a deeper discussion of what really is inflammation and what is a proper way of viewing inflammation. And I think it's important, y'all, for us to realize that inflammation isn't bad. Inflammation is a God-given response to our body to heal. All right. So just cut yourself, like me, if you're like me, in the kitchen. And I have a tendency to be quick in the kitchen, and I need to get slower. I need to use my cutting board. Like I'm the guy with the mango in my hand with my knife cutting it. So what happens when you cut your finger? You cut your finger, you stub your toe, whatever, you hurt yourself, the body's natural healing mechanism starts. First of all, pain. And that's a good thing. Pain is actually a good sign, because if you don't hurt yourself, you're not going to realize there's damage. You could end up hurting and re-injuring that same part of your body, which can cause permanent damage. So pain is a good thing. And then blood starts shunting to that area and it starts getting hot. Again, what are the cardinal signs of inflammation? Pain, blood rushing, heat, swelling, right? Loss of function. Like these are not bad things, but this is again the body's response to heal. The problem is we are not designed, and we shouldn't be in a constant state of inflammation. And that's it. Again, if you cut your finger over and over and over again, thank God, and hopefully thank God for Band-Aids, but if you're going to cut yourself in the same spot nonstop, that's going to cause significant problems. And you think, well, yeah, okay, Dr. Z, that's like stupid simple. Why are you even saying that? Of course, I'm not going to cut myself in the same area, my finger, all day long, every day. Well, that's exactly what we're doing to our bodies by this low dose, this low grade inflammatory response from the products that we put on our skin to the air that we're breathing, the water that we're drinking, the food that we're eating, the thoughts that we have. I mean, just being, stressed isn't bad. Like even stress is a good thing, but we're not supposed to be chronically stressed. I mean, exercising and tearing your muscles and, quote, stressing your muscles is good, but you can't live at the gym. You got to take a break, a day, a two off, right? Between you go back. And so when you think of it in these terms, the light bulb went on my mind. I'm like, okay, what then is causing this low grade inflammatory response that I can't feel directly, that is happening like at the cellular level? And a lot of people are just so in tune with that. Like I actually can feel more inflamed now than I used to. Like I've actually seen people and you could test it. You could look at your C-reactive protein levels. You could see your inflammatory levels, like if you want to get that tested at the local Ready Lab down the street. Like this stuff is kind of cheap, 50, $60. You can get like an inflammation test. You'll see like your eyes get a little puffy, like I mean, you kind of get puffy, like there's puffiness. You wonder like, why can't you fit in your pants? Well, that's maybe inflammation. You'll see like your brain can't function as well. Like you'll be on edge. Like for me, inflammation manifests through anxiety, a little bit of stress. Like my body's not able to completely deal with what I'm going through at the time. Whether it's just something, even if like something simple happens at work and it like sets me off, like, that's a sign of inflammation. That's a sign of like my body not being able to respond properly to an insult. And that's it. And guess why is this even important? Because when something happens, like you are exposed to a virus and you are exposed to bacteria or you are exposed to something else, let's say cancer starts to slowly develop. Your body's metabolism cannot properly keep you healthy because it's barely keeping you alive. And that's why metabolism is not a scapegoat for weight gain, by the way. And research has shown this. And even the Mayo Clinic and the UK's National Health Services have gone on record that says, hey, a slow metabolism is not and has not been linked to weight gain. In fact, overweight people have a faster metabolism because their metabolism's on overdrive just to keep them alive because they're so overweight. So when you have this low dose inflammatory response happening throughout the day, all day long, no wonder you're dealing with so many different symptoms because your body is just barely in survival mode.
Fascinating. I have heard that for longevity, you actually want a slower metabolism because we only have so many cells. I mean, the theory is we only have so many cells or so many replicas that the body's going to make. And so once we run out, we run out. And that was the idea that this part of the DNA that gets shorter and shorter, showing that they can see someone age over time. And so you really don't want your cells to be damaged and have to turn over and create new cells quickly and then get damaged again and have to turn over quickly. We want to have a slower metabolism and that we want the whole body to just, be healthy and not have damage at the cellular level and not have inflammation unless we need it to repair, and be able to survive on less calories that are more nutrient dense. The blue zones, all the people that when they live in those areas and they eat the way, people eat to live to be 100, they're actually eating less than 1,400 calories a day, but it's more nutrient dense foods. And their metabolisms are slower, and they definitely don't have inflammation. So that's really interesting. This idea that We shouldn't blame our necessarily our thyroid or our metabolism and then use that as a scapegoat to not take action. But that the symptoms that we might be experiencing could definitely be caused by inflammation. What kind of essential oils or I mean, this is such a huge topic. I mean, how do we incorporate essential oils into our diet to decrease inflammation?
Yeah, and even before we even touch on essential oils, it's the lifestyle. And something that we really try to help people with is, you could use essential oils all day long, but if you are on this fast food lifestyle and if you're eating a diet replete of nutrition, it's like one step forward, three steps back. And that's what we get. And I got to say, I've been at the largest essential oil company conventions, and I've spoken and I've signed books at retailers and things, and I've been very much shocked. And it's not a judgment call. It's not a judgment call. Please don't be emailing me hate mail. I was shocked to see so many overweight people at these conventions, um, and clinically obese, like morbidly obese. And this is supposed to be a health conference, right? Of health, advocates and people that want to sell essential oils to teach you how to be healthy. And so you compare that to these other conferences I've been to that are quote health conferences, and everyone, kind of looks relatively healthy. But I never seen such a disparity in health before than going to an essential oil conference, because a lot of people, all they do is just essential oils. They eat the same junk. They're not exercising, but they're expecting, and they use essential oils to help them get through. And that is a concern that I have in the aromatherapy industry, because I'm not hearing enough aromatherapists and essential oil distributors really talking about wholeness and holistic care, because the body cannot even respond to the essential oil if it's in such a toxic state and if its metabolism is compromised by what we're doing. And so that's where in the book we cover this concept of bioactivity and why and how to consume foods that are rich in bioactive compounds. And when you look at bioactivity, these are the plant-based chemicals that are non-nutritive. Like, you don't need these to live. Like, you need fats, carbs, calories, and proteins and vitamins and minerals to live, or you're going to flat out die due to deficiency. But researchers have shown that a diet replete in bioactive components will provide you, or not provide, will lead to suboptimal health. So you'll never really, really be healthy. And this is my biggest issue with the fad diets out there, low carb, high fat diets. It's completely focused on quantity, not quality of food at the core. And so what are the list of bioactive compounds? Well, fiber. I mean, just to throw a wrench at the carnivore diet, like, what are you going to do for fiber? Fiber is so key. Eating a good amount of fiber can actually replace your probiotic supplement, because fiber is prebiotics. They feed the probiotics. So a lot of people are literally wasting money, and research has shown that consuming probiotic supplements actually cause drugs like immunotherapy to be less effective. I mean, it's just, you got to throw it out there. A lot of people are on drugs, and we try to help really teach integrative healthcare. So fiber is key to have good bowel function. What about antioxidants? And that's not, those aren't nutrition, like polyphenols. Over 8,000 different plant-based chemicals known as polyphenols that are rich in antioxidants. What about your carotenoids, the pigments that you get in your oranges and your grapefruits and your peppers, the reds, the orange, the yellows? Like, these are filled with good, healthy, immune boosting, components, and essential oils. See, that's what really all pulled it together, because essential oils are bioactive compounds. They're non-nutritive substances in plants that give you robust health. So the whole purpose of the book is to get people back to quality, not quantity, and then saying, hey, if you really want to boost your health profile, consider using essential oils in your food, in addition to the topical remedies that we have to soothe inflammation and balance blood sugar. And I mean, flat out, this will blow people's minds. Like, using essential oils can actually help you burn fat, period. Like, research has shown inhaling grapefruit and inhaling lime will stimulate lipolysis, like, proven. And we've seen it. Now, it's not going to help you lose 50 pounds in a week, but, for a lot of people, they're at a crux. A lot of people have plateaued. A lot of people are just hitting a wall. And especially for those dieters out there who have gone through the different plans and they're back to where they're at, the yo-yo effect, maybe essential oils might be that thing to help you over that hump, to get you that next level. And that's what really we're trying to help people, to put things into perspective when it comes to just the whole essential oil discussion.
I love it. Yeah, that the idea like there's 1,000 different nutrients in broccoli. Those nutrients that help our body fight cancer, detox, create healthy cells. I mean, it's just, we can't get that eating the standard American diet, and we definitely can't get it in a pill. And I'm a believer in supplements. Supplements changed my life because I did have a
Yep.
nutrient deficiency. They really changed my life and they have their place. But you cannot out supplement a bad diet, and you cannot out
Amen.
exercise a bad
Yes.
diet.
Yes.
Diet is first. And we
Yes.
need to look at that. And I love that you're pointing out, like, stop counting calories and start counting nutrients, because the
Yeah, that's
most nutrient dense foods are actually low in calories.
that's why nutrition labels are useless, because they're not telling you how many antioxidants are in the food. Beside fiber, which is that is probably the most valuable thing on your nutrition label next to the ingredients. You don't know. Again, vitamin C, just because it has quote vitamin C, doesn't mean really anything. I mean, it's just one component, just one little aspect of immune boosting quality in food, but it really doesn't matter. And I would even say it doesn't even matter the caloric intake, because here's a problem with looking at calories. There is no way to determine your caloric need on a daily basis. And to say you need to be within this range is ludicrous, because it all depends on the exact moment and what your body needs. And that depends on your activity level, how much you slept, how much stress you're dealing with. That depends on where you're at. Are you fighting some kind of illness or virus? Are you sick? Are you on drugs like narcotics? Are you drinking alcohol, smoking? Are you on pharmaceuticals? Like, to determine someone's caloric need on a daily basis is impossible. And so that's where you mentioned the blue zones. In Okinawa, they have like a proverb that says, "Hey, stop eating when you're like 70, 80% full." And we talk about that in the book. We actually cover the blue zones a lot, because you don't know, like, they're not counting calories. They have no idea. They don't even know the concept of what a calorie is. They're just eating, and they're eating good, nutritious food that's available in the land. Most of it, by the way, is plant-based, and that's interesting when you really think about it. What are they doing? They're not gorging. And just like a dog, you give the dog food in a bowl that's a certain size, the dog will eat until, the bowl's done. Like, that's kind of how dogs are really wired. Humans are wired the same way. Like, the Clean Play Club is probably one of the most dangerous things on the planet. But that's learned. You don't see that as a baby. Like, my kids, like, I'm done. You could put cake, you could put straight up sugar on their plate, and my kids are like, I'm done. Like, my baby, my 2, 3-year-old. I see this in my kids, but it's later. Oh, I got to be part of the Clean Play Club. And that's something that's like a learned behavior. We got to unlearn that. Get back, like, okay, I'm happy. My tummy's good. And that's another thing. Like, how do you know when your tummy's good? When you're overweight, your leptin and your ghrelin, the hormones that tell you when you're full, are out of balance. And that's a concern with overweight, obese people, is they're leptin resistant. They don't feel full. So they're having 3 full plates of food at the buffet, and they're like, I want more. I need more. And next thing you know, they're gorging. They're loosening up their buttons on their belts and all the things on their pants just to fit another plate in. Like, that's real. And I know what that's like, because I experienced that in my own right. I never became obese, but I gained weight at one point, and I had to enlarge all my pants, and I call them fat pants. Like, I have my fat pants story. I actually talked about that in my podcast a couple months ago. Like, I remember what that was like, and never feeling truly satisfied with my food, regardless of what I ate. And that's a dangerous place to be, but you have to train yourself. And we cover that in little strategies. And these are little strategies. Like, how do you know when you're full? Well, it's a really kind of thing. Like, you'll start to feel your tummy slowly distend. And remember, it takes 15, 20 so minutes or so for your body to even react and respond to the food that you're eating now. So, The stomach has to distend a little bit. Give it some time. Eat slower. When your food doesn't taste as good, typically speaking, the last bite of cake isn't as good as the first bite of cake because
Right.
think about that. Like, like, okay, I'm done. And also, you get really in tune with, like, you start maybe feel a little sluggish. Like, you shouldn't be tired after eating a meal. That's a big sign that you overate. Big sign. Because, like, your body's just like, okay, I'm overload. Stop. I got to manage this stuff. And now metabolism just gets compromised. It's like, okay, I'm overburdened.
You mentioned that the last bite not tasting as good as the first. I would say that if we are noticing that we're actually following the dopamine high, that we're caught in the pleasure trap of wanting those highly palatable foods with salt, sugar, and oil that stimulate those brain chemicals. The same brain chemicals are stimulated when if one were to do street drugs like cocaine. That there's those parts of the brain that go, oh, this is amazing, I have to get more. And that's what happens when we go to Dairy Queen, or have that piece of cake, or have some kind of fatty food. And I look at I've done the ketogenic diet a few times in my past. I've done pretty much every diet. I've experimented. I love learning and experiencing things firsthand. But man, I've learned so much, and the ketogenic diet is incredibly dangerous. In fact, it harmed my husband's kidneys. It
Mm-hmm.
damaged my liver. I mean, it took us a year of eating plant-based to recover from, and we had to do blood work and everything, work with our naturopath, but it took us a year to recover from the damage it did. And yet when we were doing, the ketogenic diet, the I want to say the more like Atkins way, either where people
Mm-hmm.
think the ketogenic diet is a bunch of ghee or butter or cheese on top of a steak. And there's virtually no vegetables. There's no, all these, thousands of phytonutrients and antioxidants and all the things that are all the fiber. They don't eat that. They just go for the steak and the butter and the
Mm.
fat and the coffee and whatever. And that so many people are going down that rabbit hole because they're hearing that the ketogenic diet's really good for weight loss. And yeah, you could lose 10 or 20 pounds on any diet because it's a mixing it up. But what the damage you're doing is it's going to last years. And I found that out the hard way. And then I've interviewed some people that talk about this idea of the doing like a plant-based ketogenic diet, which
That's a lot of avocados.
it's a
I
yeah.
mean, what are you gonna eat? I mean, you got a food selection of like 20 foods.
Right. Right. And so there's this idea, right? That, I mean, there's 100 diets out there. And people are chasing what's the best diet for weight loss. We need to go deeper. We need to look at what's the most healing diet. Like, skip this idea of diet. What's the most healing lifestyle that's going to make me live to 120 and optimize my brain health, my liver health, just optimize everything. And in doing so, my body's going to correct itself, and it's going to lose the weight it doesn't need, and it's going to be healthy and have balanced hormones. Like, we want to stop thinking about, what's some kind of fad I'm going to do for 3 months to lose some weight, and start thinking about what can I do for the rest of my life. And so your book isn't this, 20 days to a flat belly or something. Your book is, how do we get to a point where we're supporting the body in optimal health?
Yeah, it has to be a lifestyle, and that's why. Well, a couple things I want to unpack there because you just shared something so valuable, and my heart goes out to all the people out there that are following a health celebrity or a health influencer, and they're really pushing the ketogenic diet right now. It is a Pied Piper type of experience where you have a couple well-known, famous leaders in the health space, and you got a lot of folks just following them. It's just like whatever, and that's the problem with blogging. That's the problem with podcasts. That's the problem with a lot of this. Is none of this is regulated. Most people aren't really qualified. And I say that very humbly, but it's hard to say. Most bloggers and Pinterest pinners and Facebook celebrities, these people aren't qualified. They don't really understand human physiology. They haven't been taught toxicology, and they don't know nutrition. And when someone, a leader, says, "Hey, this is it," everyone like, "Oh, okay, that's great. Dr. So and so says that," or "Mommy blogger says this." And the ketogenic diet is one of the most pervasive, dangerous lies out in the market today. And we need to unpack that for a second
Mm-hmm.
because it is the diet, just like Atkins was the diet,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's something to think about that this diet was formulated to help epileptic children stop seizing, like in 1920s. Think of that. Why would you, as a normal, quote, let's say you're overweight, but you're still relatively healthy, like neurologically healthy, why would a healthy, relatively healthy person go on a diet that's designed to stop seizures? And number one, I mean, like, just let that just sink in. Like, oh, yeah, this kind of seem odd. Number two, why are we living a diet through a lifestyle? Why are we trying to adapt a lifestyle that has not been proven long term? This is a really, really important point. You mentioned the blue zones. That's thousands of years of research there. I mean, really, even before research was known as research, people have lived this way. We look at these groups of people around the world, we see their ancestors and their great ancestors, their traditions, and now science is finally catching up to the reality of a lifestyle that's very much abundant life giving. There are zero longitudinal studies evaluating what the ketogenic diet does for a normal, healthy adult. We have longitudinal studies on what the ketogenic diet does for children that grow into that are epileptic, and we're finding that these kids that are now adults been on keto, they're dealing with heart disease, stroke, fatty liver issues, and disease. But we don't know what the ketogenic diet looks like for people losing weight as a lifestyle. Like zero studies we could see after 12 months. So yeah, you're right. We could argue ketogenic is great to like reset some things if you want, like shock the body, flood the body with quote healthy fats, minimize sugar. So maybe you lose some quick pounds. Essentially, it's a starvation diet. It's a carbohydrate starvation diet, which gives you immediate, like quick wins. But what does that do to the body long term? And we don't know. This is a big fat question mark, kind of like 5G. You know, like Luxembourg, the country just banned 5G. And they said publicly, we're not going to let our people be science experiments. You in America, if you want to screw around with your people, do it. But we're not letting 5G in our country. Like that's what the ketogenic diet is. It's like 5G. We have no idea what's going to happen to people on keto. And that's a concern, y'all. And then just the quality of food that you're eating. And so we have a big concern in our household, in our circle with meat and just the sheer volume of toxins that are in most meat products.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting really, really, really hard to find good, clean meat, even quote grass-fed organic meat. That has no guarantee that the meat is good and healthy and pure. And then how it's processed. And milk and dairy just it gets scary. So you always find, and again, we're not vegan, but we are about 90%, I'm probably 95% plant-based. And every once in a while, personally, I'll crave a little red meat, and I like my Icelandic grass-fed lamb. Like that's my little thing. And Thanksgiving, we have a turkey. Like we don't eat meat like much at all. And we found that we feel a lot better, a
Mm-hmm.
lot better. And so anyway, I know a lot of people swear by the ketogenic diet, like it saved my life. I don't want to take that away from y'all, but all I'm trying to say is you need to come up with a better system if you want to live something for the rest of your life. But like you, I can't tell you how many people have come up to us and said the ketogenic diet almost killed me
Mm-hmm.
because we just shouldn't be consuming that sheer amount of fat. Because again, we need to focus on quality, not quantity. And to say that you need to restrict your diet to any percentage of anything doesn't make sense. So that's why our diet book, our plan, like tells you, hey, it's okay to eat apples. You're not going to die. I mean, you're not going to hurt yourself eating fruit again. We are preaching food freedom, and that's where life opens up. Now, don't fall into the trap of all things moderation. Like, man, as a recovering addict, like a drug addict, me as an alcoholic, I can't go back to a little bit of cocaine. I can't go back to a blackout bender. I can't go back to a little bit of smoking cigarettes. Like, all things in moderation is a lie from the pit of hell. That's a license to do things that will hurt you. Let me just give you one word to help that. All good things in moderation. That's the key. A little bit of honey, the Bible says. And it's good, but too much, you'll get sick and vomit. Like, that's in the book of Proverbs, right? Ancient Jewish wisdom for thousands of years. Like, look at ancient texts, and they recognize moderation of good things. You don't have a little bit of adultery. You don't have a little bit of theft. You don't have a little bit of killing. Think of it in terms like that, because we know, I know, and we know we preach into the choir. And for the brave soul who has listened this long, who has never heard of you or me, like, bless your heart. But we know what sugar does to the body. It's more addictive than cocaine. It's by far the number one link to disease because it triggers inflammation, which you've already talked about is the cause of most diseases right now that we deal with. So you can't have a little bit of sugar. Like, processed white sugar is poison. So, like, how do you live without sugar? Well, we teach you. How do you live without your microwave? Well, we'll teach you. How do you incorporate essential oils into your life to make life enjoyable? Well, we'll teach you. And hopefully before we get off, we can give maybe some practical tips, because I love giving recipes and little hacks along the way. But yeah, all that from the keto diet, And so thank you for mentioning that.
Absolutely. I remember a naturopath that I was seeing was getting every single person in her clinic on it. And she said, we're seeing some amazing results. In 1 month, people's inflammation is down. Like, she's looking at blood work. And I am convinced now the reason why people have these good results if they do keto for short term, 1, 2, 3 months maximum, they have some really good results. And I'm convinced it's because they had to cut out crappy food. It has nothing to do with eating 70-90% fat. It's not that eating, it's that in order to eat that much fat, it crowded out, it pushed Cheerios off their plate, it pushed Oreos off their plate, it pushed pizza off their plate. Whatever foods that were filled with sugar had to go. And so, of course, inflammation came down because they stopped eating processed sugar. Well, you don't need to be in ketosis or be on the ketogenic diet or put butter on your steak in order to gain the benefits of not eating sugar. So, looking at how can we gain the benefits that people are claiming they have from the ketogenic diet, while also eating in a way that's sustainable. And that is looking at filling your plate with fruits and vegetables as much as possible, and even some starchy root vegetables. Have a sweet potato every day, or a baked potato, that kind of thing. And you don't need to slather anything in oil or butter. In fact, people find that when they eat whole food fats, so no oil, but instead eat what the oil came from. So eat an olive or eat an avocado, or sprinkle some flax meal, or chia seeds, or have some hemp hearts. So whole plant fats, but avoid anything that's been processed. So looking at eating foods that have been very minimally, if not zero, processed. And that way your body recognizes what it is able to get the nutrients out of it, and you'll feel better. I was a type 2 diabetic, and so I was very afraid of eating fruit. I was very afraid of eating root vegetables. I thought potatoes were the worst thing you could eat, right? And so I spent years being afraid of carbohydrates, and years being afraid of a lot of even vegetables. And I constantly went back to this sort of Atkins or keto way of eating because I had a fear of carbohydrates. And then when I went plant-based and removed, so whole foods plant-based, removing oil, for example, and there's this philosophy that the amount of fat that people are now consuming is actually gumming up the works and making us insulin resistant. And I thought, this is so stupid. This just sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? Because here I am coming from a lifetime of, if I eat an apple, my blood sugar goes through the roof. So why would I trust that eating a bunch of fruit and vegetables would be good for me. And and I've been told, my whole life that all these fats are really good, right? So that just seems totally opposite. But I tried it because I'm again willing to experiment and try anything. And I remember taking my blood sugar and I just started crying. I couldn't believe it. I had stopped all the oil and all the processed fats and all the meat, and I was eating just vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, and and yeah, that's it. That's all I was eating. And fill my plate up, as much as I want, and just until I feel good, right? And 3 times a day. And my blood sugar, I remember after like an hour after eating or an hour and a half after eating, it was 89. I'd never seen that number before. And I
Wow.
felt amazing. I felt on top of the world. I had so much energy. It was really the first time in my life that I noticed no inflammation. Like it was just like like I just woke up clear-headed, jumped out of bed. There was no barriers to entry. There was just no there was no symptoms. And that's what really sold me. It was like, wow, you mean, and I know it seems like we should all know this, but you mean eating unadulterated foods from the earth and just filling my plate with that, that would be the healthiest way to eat, right? And just listening to my intuition and doing that. So, but I did have to battle the cravings. And then, of course, the triggers and seeing and smelling all the wonderful processed foods out there. And we need to battle those little addictions as they come up, right? And this idea of falling off the bandwagon. So let's say we do fall off and eat a burger or whatever, right? This idea of, oh, well, I guess I'll get on the diet again next week and I'll just eat this bad way for the next few days, right? That's our justification. It's kind of like having one flat tire and getting out of the car and shooting the other 3 tires.
Mm.
So we need to catch ourselves. Like I needed to keep catching myself if I ever, quote unquote, fell off the bandwagon, to go, you know what? My next choice is going to be a good one, not my next choice next week, right? Or, oh, I've fallen off so I can keep doing this way, keep eating this way. Because we are led by our
Yep.
dopamine. We're led by the desire to have those hyper palatable foods. But my understanding is that essential oils can really help us curb those cravings and help us to maybe have that break state to just stop our brain from telling us that it really, really wants that whatever it's craving, and instead allow us to have a bit of a break state. What kind of essential oils can we use either by smelling it or applying it topically or by ingesting it that will help us to stay on track and stop those cravings, or at least allow us to calm down so that we can make better choices?
Yeah, that is key because if our cravings are going to drive us to do something unhealthy, then we want to satisfy them. So, one thing, using essential oils like cinnamon bark, black pepper, and peppermint can actually help. And cinnamon, and there's research to suggest why. Like black pepper has actually been shown to help reverse the addiction cascade in people that are quitting smoking. So the withdrawal, and I get it. I tried to quit smoking multiple times, falling flat on my face. And so that that addiction, like I need that hit, I need that high. Black pepper can soothe and ease and lessen those withdrawal symptoms. And addiction is addiction, and that's something that you learn just like basics are basics. So whether it's addiction to sex or drugs or food or sugar or alcohol or whatever, it's the same a cascade that happens in the brain. So black pepper can help with that. Cinnamon bark is fantastic for balancing blood sugar. And that is probably the number one cause that is most easily remedied through exercise and diet is rampant blood sugar. We're just overdosing on sugar. Like you mentioned before, you just stop eating sugar. I mean, AKA the ketogenic diet, you're just going to lose weight. We find that typically 15, 20 pounds are really easy to lose in the first month just by cutting out sugar alone, right? And so when our diets are filled with sugar and processed forms of sugar, like processed wheat flour and things that are metabolized like sugar, essentially has caused insulin receptors to not respond well to the insulin that's out in the bloodstream. And basically, the body doesn't know what to do. So you're consuming sugar all day long, and the body's like, okay, obviously you get it being a diabetic, but most people don't get that using certain things can help insulin sensitivity, can reverse the problem. And that's what cinnamon bark does. So cinnamon bark can actually help your body not only produce more insulin, but help your insulin receptors and increase sensitivity. So that can help with the sugar cravings. Because if insulin can do its job, you're not going to crave sugar anymore because your body doesn't crave it anymore because your body got it. Peppermint. Peppermint's one that is very good for satiety, a natural energy booster, helps you feel full. And it's also good for athletic performance, which kind of all plays into each other. We really want to incorporate this lifestyle of activity, a lifestyle of healthy behaviors. And that's why when it comes to cravings too, we want to make people feel better. I don't know about you, but I've been a comfort eater in the past, and I know what it's like being down in the dumps and battling with clinical depression. And I find that because food gives you that immediate, predictable high, especially if it's sugar. It's like, boom, I get that little sugar high. If you're not depressed, if you're happy, like the Bible talks about, joy is medicine. Happy heart does better than medicine. It's something to be said, like diffusing and using topically citrus essential oils, which are proven antidepressants, proven to help with anxiety and panic attacks. That could help you too. It's a roundabout way. You don't think about it, but you feel better. You're not going to be tempted to eat that second pint of Ben & Jerry's, or maybe even that first pint. And what we want to do is help people feel better about themselves. And there is an aspect where we talk a lot about in the book is emotional detoxification, like falling in love with yourself again, doing what you know is right. And essential oils, if used well and properly, can help you get in that meditative state, can again help naturally produce serotonin and dopamine, can help you just, deal with some of the issues of life in a way that maybe, you couldn't do it alone.
Love it. Are there essential oils that help the liver? I know that when it comes to, obviously so many functions of the body, but when it comes to weight loss, the liver has to metabolize that fat.
Not directly. So we don't have any research to suggest that essential oils can help liver function. But we do know that an abuse of essential oils can actually cause liver and kidney toxicity because they still are chemicals. And that's something to realize. As natural as they are, you're not going to go walk into a lavender field and see a pool of lavender. These flowers, these blossoms need to be distilled. And it takes roughly like 30 to 35 pounds of lavender flowers to get one itty bitty bottle of lavender. So for sure, don't just like take 15 drops in your mouth and call it a day. Like that's the danger of a lot of misguided folks when they're using essential oils, is to overdo it. Like a little goes a long way. But when it comes to liver function, going back to fatty liver, using the essential oils we've already talked about, and especially the citrus oils, we'll go back to lime and grapefruit, helping the body produce what's known as lipolysis, the fat, just burning down of fat, like triggers fat burning and fat breakdown. That will actually help. Aiding the body in losing weight. So again, it's a roundabout way, but if you want to support your liver function, you just got to lose weight. You really need to lose weight to support your liver function, but do it gradually. And it's something too, this is important. I was just and I don't want to name a magazine, but the tabloids, and you all know what it is. The ones at the counter right when you're about to check out the grocery store. You see the woman, 60 pounds in 25 days, that's dangerous. I've known a man who, he went to the hospital. He almost had his gallbladder removed because he was fasting and doing a flush, and he was essentially starving himself, and he lost like 50 pounds in 3 weeks or something, or 4 weeks, ridiculous. And he put such a strain on his gallbladder that it almost had to get removed. And he almost blocked his ducts, like gallstones, like to the point where it was a bad deal. Like his body couldn't process the amount of fat. It couldn't metabolize the amount of fat that was being processed through his system. You want slow, gradual, consistent, sustainable weight loss. And, 15, 20 pounds is really sustainable for like most anyone that could lose that. You could get up a little bit, but I get concerned. I don't want people to lose 40 pounds in a month. That's way too much, too quick. You want to get that over a course of a couple months. And that's why our program, we have like the 60-day challenge, we call it. the first 30 days is really designed to help reset metabolism, balance hormones, and also the reset and to retrain your taste buds. So now when you consume a food item, you're not like loading it up with with sugar. You're not putting sugar on your Cheerios, or some people not putting Cheerios on your sugar. You're not like just automatically reaching for the salt shaker at dinner before tasting food. You're going to taste it
Mhm.
first. And so like it takes time. It takes about a month, and women know this, obviously. You're on a monthly cycle. Men too. We're on a monthly cycle. Our skin regenerates itself every month. Our hormones balance. And so give us a month just to kind of reset things. And then another month to kind of really establish lifestyle behaviors, because research has shown it takes up to 66 days on average. This is so interesting. 66 days on average to develop a habit.
Mhm.
Now, that takes into account everyone. Like me, I can develop a habit in 2 hours. I'm really extreme. Where my wife, it probably takes her 2 3 years to develop a habit, because she's much more, she's not the extremist as I. Of course, I jest, but on average. So if you want to change your life forever, to establish habits where you're not tempted, where it's like, no, like I have not had a McDonald's burger in 16 years. I haven't had a Coke in 16 years. I haven't had a cigarette in 16 years. Like it's been 16 years since my quote health transformation. Like I have options for everything that I want. So if I want a pumpkin pie, we know how to do it the right way. If I want a soda, I kind of make my own with a little bit of essential oils and stevia, or I like Virgil's, which is sweetened from stevia, and that's like a quick one that you can get at the store. I love their root beer, by the way. Like we have solutions to the things, and so you come up with these systems that guarantee your success, and that's something that all of you can do. If you're willing, if you're listening, and if you're on the ketogenic diet, because we're picking on keto today, if you're willing to starve yourself of carbohydrates and go through that extreme planning and expense and all those things to just load up on fats and stay away from all those carbs, like that's a lot of effort. Just give me part of that effort, just a portion of that, to start thinking about, maybe a more holistic kind of approach, an approach that actually satisfies your palate, an approach that gives your body time to adapt and to respond and to truly heal. And that really actually is one thing I love about what you do, is it's all about healing from the inside out, emotional, spiritual, mental, and of course physical.
Yes, absolutely. We have to look at every aspect of our life and lifestyle in order to heal, because something like emotional stress can cause physical inflammation at the cellular level. Speaking of inflammation, what essential oils, or what do you teach in your book for decreasing inflammation?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of essential oils that can help soothe inflammation, and we have a couple. We have a couple recipes that you can get in the book, and I'll share a couple with you. For one, if you want to ingest essential oils, it's very safe. Make sure that the oils are 100% pure, not adulterated. There's no fillers, there's no additives. You got to do a little research, make sure the company is transparent with their sourcing, transparent with their, I call it the blood panel, the GCMS, the gas chromatography mass spectrometry report. Basically, it just tells you what's in the oil, and it should have like a quote executive summary, like you get from a blood panel, like, hey, your numbers are within normal limits or they're without. So you want to look at the report. You really do. You want to do a little bit of research, especially if you're going to use essential oils to treat a disease, like most people do right now using oils. So if you're going to ingest them, they have to be pure. And a good recipe that we found that really helps people is getting a size 00, which typically is most people can swallow that, a 00 vegan gel cap. You can get a gel capsule on Amazon, pennies on the dollar. Really, they're super cheap. And you get 1 drop of copaiba, 1 drop of orange, and 1 drop of peppermint. And it could be sweet orange, bitter orange, wild orange. I don't care. Orange, in a nutshell, is very similar depending on the species. So you can just get orange oil and 1 drop copaiba, 1 drop orange, 1 drop peppermint. You put that in the capsule, and you fill the capsule up with a vegetable oil that is a good vegetable oil, like coconut oil, or grapeseed oil, or a olive oil type of thing, not canola. And you take that as a pill. You take that up to twice a day. And then just kind of monitor your results for about 2 weeks. And that's what we do. We say take it twice daily for 2 weeks and see how you respond. And you might find that certain symptoms just kind of go away, like bloating, and like we've already mentioned a bunch of them, the nausea and the bloating and the libido and the energy and the brain fog. But there's other techniques. While you're doing that, you can apply a roll-on. Same oils, or if you want to use different ones, we have found that ginger, lemon, spearmint, peppermint comes up a lot because peppermint is traditional soothing oil, anti-inflammatory. But a roll-on recipe you could use is get like 10 milliliter glass roller bottle, get 4 drops of ginger, 2 drops of lemon, 2 drops of peppermint, and 2 drops of spearmint. That's a neat little recipe. And you could try different ones though too. And that's one thing we try and incorporate and educate people on, like, hey, if you don't have spearmint, for example, well, just use a couple extra drops of peppermint. It's not going to make too much of a difference. We're just trying to give people variety, especially if those people have a robust medicine cabinet. A nice inhaler or diffuser recipe is equal mixtures of clove, eucalyptus, and orange. Eucalyptus is rich in a chemical known as 1,8-cineol, which is exceptionally anti-inflammatory. And so that is something, again, you want to incorporate. Now, it could be Eucalyptus radiata or Eucalyptus globulus. I personally have no preference. They both have a similar effect on inflammation. So again, whatever your favorite company uses or sells, you're good to go. Same thing with clove oil. It's typically, there aren't many different varieties of clove oil. It's just clove oil. But clove oil is extremely rich in antioxidants and can soothe inflammation. But there's so many more though too. It's just like once you kind of get into the world of essential oils, you find that all of them have this somewhat minor to significant inflammatory response to it. And that's why you apply them topically, you inhale them, and you, if you really want an impact, you ingest them.
Could you do damage to the liver just by inhaling too much essential oils or by applying too many topically, or is it only when you ingest them?
Yeah, typically ingestion, like you have to apply an extreme amount on your skin because the skin, even though we all hear the skin is the proverbial sponge, it's a, we all hear it's the largest organ on your body. The research has actually suggested only like 50 to 60% of the chemicals that are applied on the skin penetrate to the bloodstream. So the skin does have a direct barrier effect. Like there's only so much that will get into the bloodstream. So skin is very safe. And inhalation, I have not seen any research that really substantiates that inhaling essential oils can put any sort of organ toxicity. Of course, overdosing is one thing. Like a nebulizer is a potentially dangerous apparatus that I've gotten myself near faint and vertigo dizzy with using a nebulizer incorrectly. Like a nebulizer is straight essential oil, not mixed or not part of a water diffuser. So when you have this ultrasonic water diffuser that most people think of as diffusers, there's a vibrating disc at the bottom of a water tank that vibrates at such a high speed, it breaks up the water compounds and the essential oil compounds, and it emits steam. So there's no heating. It's just like super high vibration that breaks things up, and like next thing you know, mist. Well, there is a similar apparatus out there called the nebulizer, but there's no water. So you're putting like 40 or 50 drops of an essential oil, pure, true oil. And then there's a vibrating mechanism in there that emits pure essential oil. And that is super concentrated. Like you do not want to use that for more than 10, 15 minutes at a time. And of course, in a well-ventilated room. So if someone is being unwise and if they're just using oils in a way where they can actually cause like an overdose response, yeah, that's possible, but that's rare. But the caution is there though, because unless you're taught, you're not going to follow instructions. You're not going to know what to do. That's why a lot of these companies sell a nebulizer, straight oil diffuser that has an automatic shutoff at 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But most people, like me, just put it back on because we like the smell. Well, no, what are you doing to your body? There's a reason it shuts off automatically at 5 or 10 minutes. So please, please. Plus, you waste so much in oils when you're using a nebulizer if you're not doing it for like true disease management. Like if you want to stop a panic attack, a nebulizer is the way to go. But most people should not be messing with that. Most people, 99% of us, should be using these water diffusers because they're the safest, most just sustainable way. And we also got to think about waste. A lot of waste. Like you could easily go through a bottle of oil in a week. A bottle in a week, And that's like, again, 35 pounds of lavender gone. It's a lot of lavender.
Right.
That's as much as my wife and I can grow in a year. Like we just consume that in a week because we misuse the oil. So I want to put that healthy caution too. I really want my kids and my grandkids to be able to use essential oils, and we just don't want to consumerize them to death.
Are there essential oils that should not be ingested? Like I've always heard, don't ingest tea tree oils. So are there ones that absolutely you should not swallow?
Ultimately, it's dosing, and the answer that it's not an easy answer, because wintergreen is one that most, I mean, all aromatherapists recommend. Wintergreen can cause toxicity if ingested. But what do you think flavors your root beer? I mean, that's the concern that I have with throwing the baby out the bathwater is it's dosing. And so if you're using like a culinary dose, if you want to make homemade root beer and you got a batch of a gallon and you put a drop of wintergreen, like that's again, what do you think flavors your Coca-Cola? What do you think flavors your food products? And so by and large, if you're using essential oils for culinary purposes and if you're following the recipe like in my book, go at it. But if you're using oils for medicinal purposes, you need to take a little more consideration because there are known drug interactions. And again, wintergreen, yeah, I'm not going to ingest in a medicinal dose. So that's the confusion is there are contraindications for a medicinal dose versus a culinary dose. Like huge because we're talking parts per billion. Like
Mm-hmm.
one drop in a gallon. That's just like that's parts per billion because there's how many millions and millions or billions of drops are in a gallon. So that's something to think about. So yeah, there are a list. Tea tree, personally, I've ingested tea tree in a capsule or some way that's safe. Oregano, tea tree, clove, certain oils that could be caustic, but none are quote toxic in a sense that you're gonna like a drop of oil in a capsule is gonna cause any sort of damage. Like there's no research, like trust me, at all to prove that or to suggest that. But in my aromatherapy text, and I'm looking at the guidelines and our quote Merck manual type of text, there are max oral dosages for virtually all oils, and there are really few like bitter almond. But who's going to buy that? Wormwood. Well, rue. Like who has rue? And so there are certain oils that are definitely contraindicated to consume, but no one's buying them. The oils that you're getting, your lemons, your lavenders, your eucalyptuses and stuff. I mean, people consume that on a regular basis all the time. But we want to put a healthy caution out there. So this is where I get a little criticism from the aromatherapy community because I try to give people license, in a sense, empowerment to do this. But we always have to have that caution.
Right. Absolutely. Now, do we have to do the capsule or could we just put it in a glass of water or, stick it on our tongue? Like, why the capsule just to bypass the taste or is there a medicinal reason?
Oh, really to protect the mucous membranes in your throat and in your esophagus. Um, they're super concentrated. I mean, they're very much concentrated to the point where they're caustic, they could burn. And and I would argue, and research has suggested that diluting actually helps the body absorb better, for one. And that's why you just don't want to apply undiluted oils on your skin. It's hard for the body to completely metabolize and absorb that because, again, there's just pure chemicals. And that's what essential oils are. They're pure plant-based chemicals. So when you dilute them with a carrier oil, it actually helps the body absorb them and metabolize them better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing, but also protection. I mean, nothing will burn your mouth like putting a drop of oregano, and water doesn't dilute them. So water and oils don't mix. So you could put a drop of oil in your water, mix it up, but the oil suspends on top. So you either need to get an emulsifier or something, or if you really want to drink them, like me, I love my matcha green tea in the morning. That's like my thing. That helped me quit the coffee habit. It gives me a nice little energy boost, and I love the benefits I get from that. I'll put a drop of cinnamon bark and a drop of peppermint in that, but because I have a fatty oil or a fatty substance like coconut milk in it, it helps dilute that. So always ingest essential oils with some sort of fatty carrier, or the safest way if you're doing for medicinal purposes is through a capsule. You could also just put a teaspoon of olive oil or coconut oil in a bowl and mix it with a drop of oil and eat it like that. but there is that taste aspect to it. But that's much more safe. It's infinitely more safe than just put a drop. And sublingual use, I don't know, and that's a tough one. Like I see more harm than good. Like there's no research to suggest that sublingual, like putting a drop under your tongue, is going to help your body absorb it any better than and assimilating it. That's the key. Assimilating and absorbing it any better than using a gel capsule or another way.
Now, essential oils are antimicrobials. So, what about the good bacteria in the gut? Do they harm the good bacteria while killing the bad?
Oh, that's a fantastic question because we've seen through the studies that essential oils have what's known as cell selectivity. Because again, they're from nature, they're of the earth. And I don't want to use the word innate because they're not alive, they're not intelligent, but there is this somewhat innate intelligence we've seen in these inanimate objects that they know how to interact with the body. The body knows how to interact with that. I mean, we're all of the earth if you look at it. And so whether it's cancer, whether it's healthy cells, cancer cells, whether it's good bacteria, bad bacteria, you see that essential oils actually target pathogens and they leave the healthy alone. So there's no research at all that suggests that oregano oil will kill the probiotics or the good bacteria in your gut, but we do know that it will definitely, like you mentioned, kill the bad bacteria. Same thing with our skin. And that's a key about why using essential oils topically is infinitely more better than like hand sanitizer or antibacterial products, is because it allows and fosters good, healthy bacterial growth versus just annihilating everything. So they're not like antibiotics, because antibiotics are very much, I don't know what to say, but I hate the word to use the word intelligent, but they're so not natural. They're so synthetic that the body can't react to it. It's like this nuclear bomb approach.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the wonderful thing about nature. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about God's design. It blows my mind. I can't explain it more than just what I just did. But again, the technical term in the research is cell selectivity. So that's pretty cool, especially when you're trying to kill cancer cells and you see that certain essential oil chemicals can do that, but they're not killing the healthy cells. So it's like, wow, interesting.
That's very interesting. What about those who know that they have candida, or they know they have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, yeast problems, that kind of thing? What kind of essential oils should they ingest to help the body to fight those infections?
Well, if that's your issue, get my first book, The Healing Power of Essential Oils, because I have a whole chapter on candida. Um, and the issue with candida primarily is diet related to an extent, to a large extent. And so if you tighten up your diet, and then if you're really focusing on good, balanced, healthy carbs, right? Not being afraid of sugar, but if you're someone that has candida, you really should not be consuming honey, maple syrup, even the natural sugars. I don't care that you're agave or coconut sugar, whatever it is, you really want to limit that stuff. But using essential oils like lavender, caraway, clove is exceptionally potent against candida. And I have candida roll-ons and capsule recipes in my first book. Some of those details escape me. I'm sorry. We're supposed to talk about my last book, but it's there. Like that stuff is there. And you'll find that one issue about candida that really blew my mind when I was writing my first book was the use of antibiotics and how that has been linked to candida overgrowth, because especially women that are that have UTIs, which is somewhat common in women, you get a UTI, urinary tract infection, you get on an antibiotic, and that ultimately produces a candida vaginal infection. And then you get on an antifungal, which then leads into a UTI, and then it leads into like resistance. And it's like this vicious cycle where women oftentimes go from UTI, vaginal infection, to candida overgrowth. And it's like to stop the onslaught first is to try to find the solution to stop overdosing and taking antibiotics as much as possible. And that in and of itself can help regulate and bring healing. But one thing about essential oils is we have no research to suggest that like the thyme and the oregano and the clove that are extremely antifungal, that they will be that fungi will become resistant to them. And that's an issue with candida is antifungal resistant fungicides. And that's scary. I'm sorry, antifungal resistant fungus. Like that's scary because we're creating superbugs. bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics, fungus that are resistant to these solutions. So, yeah, again, like essential oils can really help a lot. Um, and we have like gentle tampon, tea tree tampon. That's the other thing. Tea tree is another good one. That's a traditional one. But when you think of candida, we oftentimes think of vaginal infection, which is a known issue, but men deal with them too. And we are finding that people that are dealing with systemic candida overgrowth, it's definitely approachable, and you could beat this thing.
And so okay, so you're saying get the first book because you talk about ways to fight it. Do you talk about oils to ingest in your first book for candida or
Yeah,
for
yeah.
okay. Great. Excellent. Well, we'll make sure the link to your first book is also in the show notes as well. What about parasites? Getting on the idea of using essential oils, which are herbs. They're just concentrated extracts from plants. So this is botanical medicine. Are there essential oils we can consume to help kill parasites?
Yeah, the thing about parasites is there's not much research. We see the herb actually. We see a lot of wormwood, which we don't want to be using wormwood essential oil internally. That is a known toxic oil. It's just too concentrated versus the herbal form, or the dried form. And so clove is one that comes up a lot. But other than that, like I haven't looked too deep into it because what I see is essentially, I don't know. I see a lot of the supplement solutions out there are very much whole form based, and people
Mm-hmm.
aren't messing around with essential oils at that level. And we have some anecdotal evidence out there which might be good, but the only thing I could really come up with is clove. That is like the consistent one overall. But yeah, there's nothing. Like that's a shame because I'm sure there are solutions out there. It's just we just don't have the research, and that's where the funding is desperately needed in the natural health community to start funding this stuff. But our pockets are quite shallow compared to big pharma, and so we're getting by.
So I've got a little quiz for you. Let's say I'm going to take you and fly you to some island where there's no stores, and you are going to help that population there, and you can only bring three oils, and these people are suffering from the common everyday illnesses that we're suffering from. Apparently they're eating McDonald's, but there's no shop there, so you can't buy any more oils, so you can only bring three. What three oils do you bring to help these people?
I'll choose three out of the four that I focus on in the book. I'll choose lime, cinnamon bark, and peppermint. And between those three, whether we're fighting a pathogen, boosting mood, whether we're trying to lose weight or balance blood sugar, boost energy, like you could do a lot of things with those. And they mix well together, surprisingly enough. And so, yep, lime, which is one of my favorites, and that's very tasty. By the way, if you've never had guacamole without a drop of lime and a drop of cilantro, you haven't lived. It's yum. And so we try to enjoy that as well. Cinnamon bark and peppermint for sure.
I love it. Now, tell us a bit about cooking with essential oils versus putting them in a capsule and consuming them. They're obviously being more diluted because, like, if you're putting one drop of lime and one drop of cilantro in a whole bowl of guacamole, and then sharing it with other people, so you're not consuming an entire drop like you would if you used a capsule, but you're still getting some medicinal benefits. And then the idea also, the question is, because you're mixing it with food, do essential oils interact with foods to create a synergy, to create a synergistic effect? So is there a benefit to cooking with them?
Yeah, you get that minor culinary dose. And that's something that we're trying to incorporate with people is, you don't have to take a garlic supplement, for example, to get the benefits of garlic. Just, add a clove of garlic to your food and have a nice medicinal dose, like constant dose throughout your day, throughout your different food items. And so that's something that we're really trying to encourage people to do. There are virtually no contraindications when you're doing that, especially because the therapeutic effect is minor. So that is the key, though. It's a minor, negligible therapeutic effect. Again, we're not like balancing blood sugar by putting a drop of cinnamon in a huge like pumpkin pie, right? So you put things into perspective like that. So it's very safe. It's a great way for people to ease into and feel comfortable with ingesting oils, but also it enhances the flavor. It really makes food just taste better in a lot of different ways. So that is a main difference. People that are trying, like you follow the recipes in the book when it comes to the capsules, like there are 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 drops at the most, 6 at the most drops in a capsule. Like that will give you, like that's getting up to max oral dose limits. So you want to be careful if you're doing that. You want to be careful you are under the guidance of a healthcare professional if you're on drugs, because there are known drug interactions, and that's something you got to consider. But going back to the culinary use, most people, unless they're on like heart disease medication and they've been told by their doctor not to eat grapefruit, most people have been not, most people don't have nutritional contraindications for the pharmaceuticals. And so that's another way that we can get people to use essential oils. So again, I really like the culinary low dose aspect of using essential oils. It's the same thing that you do when you're diffusing. It's like diffusing essential oils and inhaling those microparticles in the air isn't going to like instant like shift your whole physiology. It's very minor, it's very subtle, but that's good though for people. You don't want those dramatic changes like taking like an NSAID and your body's physiology changes within minutes, and it's like, whoa, what did I really just do? Like we're trying to make things more gradual, and that this is sustainable long-term health and healing. This isn't like, hey, I want to get fixed. Because
Right.
a concept that we got to remember, y'all, especially for people that are overweight, is it took you a while to get in this mess. Yeah, I'll testify. Like when I gained my 10, 15 pounds when I got into my quote fat pants, it didn't happen overnight. Like it was months. It was months, up to a year worth of neglecting my body, not exercising, eating foods I shouldn't, being chronically stressed. And it just didn't happen. Like you can't gain 10 pounds in a day or two or a week or sometimes a month. It takes time. And so it will take time to reverse. And sometimes it might take longer to reverse depending on how long you've been in the state, right? Took you 5 months to get into the mess. You've been in this mess for 10 years. You got to give yourself a year. But you got to think about that. A year for the rest of your life, especially for people that really need to lose some serious weight. They want to get off their drugs. They want to really get control of their life again. That's when things change.
I love it. Now, there's definitely a link between inflammation and allergies and the histamine response. And you've already talked about how to help the body to lower inflammation, but is there anything specifically about helping people cope with allergies or lower histamine that you can provide?
No, that is one thing that when it comes to histamine, I have not focused a lot on the histamine triggers when it comes to food. Allergies, there's a lot you could do with essential oils as a whole. Lemon, lavender, and peppermint is the typical an allergy blend. Very detoxifying, helps open up the airways. Very cleansing and soothing, calming. That's what the lavender does. So people, we've recommended that to thousands of people, and you can ingest that in a gel capsule. You can topically apply that over your chest and back of your neck. You can inhale that through your diffuser. But lemon, lavender, peppermint, really good for allergies, and seasonal allergies especially. But one thing about allergies, though, I want to caution y'all is allergies have really become like normal. Like allergies aren't normal, and this is really important. Like you should not have seasonal allergies for more than 2 years at the most. I mean, if your body's working, your immune system has an adaptive response. Like unless something dramatically changes, like you completely change the landscaping of your home and you have completely different flowers and plants and shrubs or something, and you have now different pollen to adapt to, your body should be adapting to its environment relatively quickly. And so for people that deal with chronic year after year after year seasonal allergies, that is a huge trigger. And that's a red flag. And I would say that is a early stage autoimmune condition, because your body is just in such override. Your immune system is so much on edge that it cannot even handle the slightest of toxin. It's basically saying your immune system isn't properly adapting to its environment and it's not functioning properly. So, and I'll testify, like I've been there. And mold toxicity is a number one cause of seasonal allergies. And when I was dealing with mold toxicity, black mold in my home, I never suffered through seasonal allergies like that in my life. But now that we have a home that's pure, that's clean, we just went through, allergy season. I didn't get touched. Yeah, a little bit of like, and this is, by the way, too, a little bit of runny nose and sneezing because there's like a ton of pollen in here. Well, yeah, the same thing with sneezing if there's like a dog nearby with a lot of dander, like that's normal. But these people suffering for days and weeks on end, like that's not good. So I want to put that out there. Like that's a sign. It's a chronic inflammatory that is a pre-autoimmune condition that can be solved.
Exactly, absolutely. I've had clients who, when we cleaned up their diet, and they were on years and years and years of, Claritin or something like that, but cleaning up the diet, getting rid of gluten for a lot of people, getting rid of grains or the gluten grains for a lot of people, helping heal the gut, that they no longer have those allergies, those seasonal allergies. And we have to listen to the symptoms of the body. If we have chronic symptoms that we need to run to over-the-counter meds for, we need to stop and take a deep dive and look at what's going on, because if we treat symptoms, even with natural stuff, if you're just treating symptoms all the time, then there's damage being done deeper. So we have to get to the root, and we've got to clean up the diet. We want to use essential oils to support us. We want to use supplements to support us. We have to have a diet that's healing, and then create a lifestyle that is healing. And so we're going to do it one step at a time, right? We're just going to take one step at a time. And if we get overwhelmed, we're going to inhale some lavender and lime and
Yep.
peppermint,
Yep.
and we're just going to take it one baby step at a time, but we're going to get there. It took me, I was sick, and it was 10, 11 years ago that I was really, really sick. And that's when I started, about 11, coming up on 11 years ago is when my husband and I decided to eat organic and then shop the perimeter of the store. And then just like one thing led to another, right? One baby step after another. And so it does takes time, but you can do things like, cut out the sugar and do 30 days with no processed sugar whatsoever and just see what happens, right? And then use essential oils to help you overcome those sugar cravings and help you stay focused and help you love yourself and increase love in your body and for your body while you're going through that change. And then try another challenge and try going dairy free for a month, or try going meat free for a month, and try adding 2 cups of vegetables at each meal, and these fun challenges. And then you get to see after 30 days, like, do I feel better, the same, or worse? What's going on? Like, give it a good amount of time to see how you feel. And then one step at a time, you're going to get there. Now, Dr. Z, you have a whole bunch of resources for us, and we've made an easy link for everyone. It's learntruehealth.com/oils diet, one word, learntruehealth.com/oils diet. That's going to be in the show notes of the podcast as well. But listeners can go to learntruehealth.com/oils diet, and you've provided us with a whole bunch of really cool trainings. Can you let us know what that is?
Yeah, you mentioned the word challenge a lot. One thing that we offer is we call our 60-day challenge. It's a free group coaching program that walks you through those 60, and, just give us 2 months. Even though the research suggests it takes 66 days to develop a habit, we'll walk you through our initial 30-day, we call our little fast track, and we'll walk you through the next 30 days, which will hopefully set you up forever. And that's when we have nearly 2,000 people in this group right now, and it's open enrollment. So whether you're listening, early, whenever this is going to air in 2019 or through 2020 and beyond, this group is going to be available, and we have mentors and people that have gone through the program. So that's one thing I want to encourage y'all. You're not going to do this alone, and that's the number one thing. Again, the recipes are good, and essential oils are fun, and people love eating the feeling better, but it's the camaraderie. And one lady, I just really touched my heart. One woman just put on, because it's a Facebook group, and one person just wrote, she goes, I've never had a lot of friends in my life. And this group, that is, if I didn't get anything else from just meeting and being able to chat with and talk to some people and have, quote, online friends, that's been worth this more than anything. And some like that's somewhat of an extreme case, but maybe you do have a lot of friends and family that love you, but maybe they don't live the way you want to live, and maybe they don't truly support your lifestyle. Maybe it's hard for you to go out, at church socials or family functions because of all the tempting things and bad stuff that people are eating and doing. Well, imagine being part of a group of people that will help you just share how they're overcoming and posting recipes like, hey, I just made this, or I just did this with my family, and whatever. That's important. And that's something that why we changed the name of our website to Natural Living Family, because it's kind of been what we've done. And we've been blessed to start and develop a natural living family. So that is of itself invaluable. And then Mama Z, my wife, has created hours of videos on how to perform, literally demonstrate all of the exercises, because we have an exercise program too, a home exercise program, regardless of your athletic level or your fitness level or your weight. She'll help you do it. And so she'll walk you through it, a fun little shopping tour. We go to the natural health food store and we spend about an hour and a half with our local natural living family answering questions and walking through every aisle. And then Mama Z walks you through how to make several of our favorite recipes from the book. So you get all that stuff plus ebooks. It's a really, really cool package because you can get the book on Amazon for like $17, but then what? And we don't want this to be just another book that you get on the shelf, or that you buy and just ends up collecting dust on your bookshelf. Like, that would be a travesty to me. We have seen, of course, the 45 pounds and 45 inches lost stories. Like, that's like normal if you need to lose that weight. But we've also seen people gain weight that need to gain weight, and people get off medications. And one lady, she lost a little bit of weight, but the most important thing for her was to get off of her anxiety medications.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, like, really? And other people getting off their thyroid medications, and other people, like, so many fun stories. But if you're willing to do the soul searching, and if you're willing to put in the effort, and a lot of the time is, in my opinion, spent on your knees praying. A lot of the time is spent, meditating. A lot of the time is spent alone, really reflecting on you and who you are. And if you want to fall in love with yourself again, if you want to enjoy your life again, and if you want to be a light to the world, that's our invitation. You're the person that we want in our world, because we can help you with that. If you just want a quick fix, if you just want to lose 20, 30 pounds in a week, not going to help you, because that's not safe, and that's not healthy. And we want to get you out of that mentality, because we don't do cheat days. It doesn't even exist. And we're going to walk you through how to completely eradicate temptation so you're never tempted again. That will blow your mind.
I love it. I love it. So they go to learntruehealth.com/oils diet. And when they get there, they get to join the group. They have access to, I know there's some videos as well. Can you tell us a bit about the videos that they have access to in addition to the group, which is the biggest thing, of course?
Yeah, yeah. My wife Sabrina makes 6 of her favorite recipes. Everything from a treat to our lemon abundance tea bread to, crock pot lasagna for people that are at that stage of the diet program, to some really other kind of tasties. But the key is just to show you how to do the exercises that we talk about, because a lot of people are like, well, how do I really do this? So it's a full exercise demo class. And also that shopping tour I mentioned, where my wife and I are with a group of about 10, 15 local natural living family members at our local health food store. And we just took over the store. And we just talked and they asked questions. We answered them. We went through every aisle and just kind of helped them navigate, what to look for, what not to look for, and how to not lose your wallet over being healthy either, because that's a misnomer. Being healthy does not have to be more expensive. And we explain how.
I love it. That's awesome. There's so many wonderful things that you are providing, and I've really enjoyed all the training that you provide. Our first interview, episode 302, you gave some great info, and I love the recipe that you gave in that episode for making your own hand sanitizer. That really stuck with me. And so listeners got to go back and also check out episode 302 after this to hear Dr. Z's great tips, and we dive more into like what are essential oils and how to use them. And so we talk more about that in 302. I love this idea of really incorporating them throughout the diet, making sure the diet is rich in those nutrients. Is there anything left unsaid? Is there anything that we haven't covered that you really wanted to make sure we covered today?
Just this concept that diets don't work, but transformation does. A diet, by definition, is a collection of foods that you eat. I mean, my diet is different than your diet, which is different than your sons or daughters or my sons and daughters' diets. So diets are relative. And so the essential oils diet is really a transformation program to help you look and transform from the inside out, and from personal experience and from actually helping thousands of people. And we've been very blessed to say that helping thousands of people go through their metamorphosis. It's like a butterfly, it's like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And just be patient with yourself and fall in love with yourself and know that you're worth it. And don't look back. Don't beat yourself up. Look forward and think, what do I need to do? What can I do? And like you mentioned, Ashley, focus on the low-hanging fruit and baby steps and build off of that. And never forget those things to be grateful for, because those are the things that are really going to help you when things get tough. And things will get tough. Life happens. But we have what it takes to overcome that. And so that's my encouragement and my challenge to everybody is to do your best and never look back, and realize that you can enjoy a truly healthy, abundant life.
Wonderful, beautiful, beautifully said. Thank you so much, Dr. Z, for coming today and sharing. This time has just flown by, and I am really looking forward to cooking with some essential oils. You've given me some great ideas, and I can't wait to dive into your book and go further into these recipes, integrating essential oils even more into my life. It's been such a pleasure having you here, and I can't wait to have you back on the show, so thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and bless everyone listening. Talk soon.
Hello, true health seeker. Have you ever thought about becoming a health coach? Do you love learning about nutrition and how we can shift our lifestyle and our diet so that we can gain optimal health and happiness and longevity? Do you love helping your friends and family to solve their health problems and to figure out what they can do to eat healthier? Are you interested in becoming someone who can grow their own business, support people in their success? Do you love helping people? You might be the perfect candidate to become a health coach. I highly recommend checking out the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I just spent the last year in their health coaching certification program, and it really blew me away. It was so amazing. I learned over 100 dietary theories. I learned all about nutrition, but from a standpoint of how we can help people to shift their life and shift their lifestyle to gain true holistic health. I definitely recommend you check them out. You can Google Institute for Integrative Nutrition or IIN and give them a call, or you can go to learntruehealth.com/coach and you can receive a free module of their training to check it out and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. Be sure to mention my name, Ashley James, and the Learn True Health podcast, because I made a deal with them that they will give you the best price possible. I highly recommend checking it out. It really changed my life to be in their program, and I'm such a big advocate that I wanted to spread this information. We need more health coaches. In fact, health coaching is the largest growing career right now in the health field. So many health coaches are getting in and helping people because you can work in chiropractic offices, doctors' offices, you can work in hospitals, you can work online through Skype and help people around the world. You can become an author, you can go into the school system and help your local schools shift their programs to help children be healthier. You can go into senior centers and help them to shift their diet and lifestyle to best support them in their success and their health goals. There's so many different available options for you when you become a certified health coach. So check out IIN, check out the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, mention my name, get the best deal. Give them a call and they'll give you lots of free information and help you to see if this is the right move for you. Classes are starting soon. The next round of classes are starting at the end of the month. So you're going to want to call them now and check it out. And if you know anyone in your life who would be an amazing coach, please tell them about it. Being a health coach is so rewarding and you get to help so many people.